G'day everybody. It's pretty late on Sunday night. I think it's just after 10:30. Actually, I'm afraid to go look for a watch because it's actually quite late now. So this is video number 3 in a short little series on the principles of leadership. So this is me doing my best to discover and transmit to you what I have found 3 timeless principles of leadership to be. 3 principles that which when enacted by a leader or by anybody, they automatically become a leader. So if these 3 principles are produced within anybody, you will automatically, effortlessly produce the behaviors of a leader. So you'll be visionary, you'll be resilient, you'll be compassionate, you'll be brave, you'll be, you can name 1,000 behaviors and actions. These 3 principles that if you align with them, produce the behaviors of leadership. And I think that's a much more effective way to approach being a leader, whether it's a leader in your family, in your community, in your relationship, as the owner of a company, the owner-operator of a company, an entrepreneur, or in a leadership position in a large organization. But above all, I think where the real value of this is in self-leadership, is in leading yourself. Because when you lead yourself, it's much easier to lead other people. So the first video was about congruency. It's about having an alignment between what you think, what you believe, what you say, what you do. And we can do deeper dives on this, but that's congruency. The one yesterday was paradox. And paradox is much harder to explain, and I don't know if I did it real justice yesterday, but I'm going to do a little more on it tonight. And paradox is to get what you want, you have to not need it. It's that there is a yin and a yang, that there is a plus and a minus, always. And if we ever see just one side, for example, if we just see one person as being amazing, and they have no faults, well then it's an inaccurate perception of that person. But we'll find more fault with somebody else instead of thinking they're amazing. But a really good, actually, and maybe part 2 to the whole paradox thing is is talking about strengths and weaknesses. So this is a nice one for leaders, is that wherever your strengths are, it also becomes your weakness if you attach to it. And so what I mean by that is, let's say if you're a leader and you have a desire to be liked, for example, well then, if everything you do is based around that, or let's say has that desire to be liked in the fabric of what you do, well then there will be a time where you'll be required to do something that's probably a difficult decision or a difficult conversation. And if you have a desire to be liked, it'll be more difficult to actually do what needs to be done as a leader. And so what you'd find in that situation is that situations will arise that cause you to have to step up in that area. And those situations arise because those are the exact things that you need to do to step up and be a leader. So let's say somebody loves to be liked, and then they have a team of 10 people. There will be somebody in that team who's going to push their buttons, that's going to make the leader have to actually do something, have words with that person that's going to cause that person to maybe say, hey, I don't like you, or something like that, make the leader feel like they've done something to offend another person. So if that leader, if you have that and you attach to being liked, then the paradox of leadership will say that you are going to be controlled and manipulated through that strength. The vanity of attaching to your idea or identity of being liked is actually going to be your biggest weakness, because that's where you can be controlled and manipulated from. So understanding paradox as a leader and being able to use it as a tool is really important. Okay, so congruency number 1, paradox number 2, and number 3, which is what this video is about, is what I've called the L word. And L doesn't stand for leadership, it actually stands for love. And so, well, who am I to talk about love? Well, I'm not going to really. I'm not going to say what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's different for everybody. In the context of leadership, I've seen it in two areas, and I've noticed it in two areas myself, my own life. So the two areas are, I've noticed it with clients a lot. And the two areas are a love of people, which can't be faked. And that doesn't mean a love of all people. It doesn't. You don't have to be super extrovert and all that kind of thing. It doesn't mean that. It means a love of people in a way that you want them to do well. You want to understand them, and you want to help them along on their journey. And also a love of what you do. And I sent a newsletter out on this earlier to clients and other people on our newsletter list. If you want to get on that and you're not on it, just go to the website powellbusinessleadership.com.au, put in your email address, and we'll get them to. I'll send them to you. But tonight's newsletter was about the pursuit of perfectionism and how it can derail somebody, but also connecting it to the love of what you do. And so the love of people is a deeper topic, which I'm actually covering in a new book, which is coming out soon, hopefully in about 2 months' time. And I may do another chat on that. It's just a little bit more, takes a bit more longer to explain. But the other one, the other side to the love, the L word part of the principles, is the love of what you do. So in the newsletter tonight, I was talking about, there are plenty of people out there who say, you shouldn't, if you pursue what you love, you could go broke. It's complete BS that people can do what they love and make a living. It's all a load of crap and blah, blah, blah. So there are a lot of people talking like that right now on the internet. And then there are a lot of people who are saying, and I'm in this camp, the camp I'm about to talk about, there are a lot of people who say that yes, you can do what you love. And the entire point about this is that leaders are doing what they love. You could argue that you can have these wartime leaders who are thrust into an environment that they never wanted to be in. But I promise you, if you go into the moment where they're exercising their leadership, they're doing what they love. So doing what you love doesn't mean it's always blissful, joyful, all up and no down. That's just really a kind of a juvenile fantasy. Doing what you love means that you like the nuts and bolts of something. You like the process of doing something. You like the process of doing that thing, whatever it is. And so leaders do what they love. They really do what they love. They might not be doing the nuts and bolts of a technical thing, but they love the nuts and bolts maybe of dealing with people, of leading people, of having brave conversations, of doing brave things, of forging a new direction. They do love it. So the whole do what you love thing can be taken to any level. If it's like, set up a flower shop, set up a consulting firm, set up a manufacturing company, set up an airline, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter what it is. The thing is, if you do what you love, you're going to go to the level that is required to actually master something. So it's very difficult for somebody to put in a lot of time and effort into something they don't enjoy. And it becomes a chore. And the person starts to doubt themselves because they put in all this time and effort, and they don't make the same kind of headway that somebody who loves that field will make. And so the person who doesn't love it might start to think, oh, well, am I any good? Whereas they're not supposed to be super brilliant at it because it's not maybe within their talents and their love. So by doing what you love, you're setting yourself on a path. You're telling yourself, first of all, if you go back and look at the video about the unconscious mind, you're telling yourself that you can have what you want in life, which is very important as a leader. Because as a leader, if you're going to be leading other people, you need to believe that you can actually do what you love as a leader. Otherwise, You can tell other people you believe it, but they will know unconsciously, they will sense that you don't believe it. So you've really got to walk the talk as a leader. You've got to do what you love. So there's something, and this is I spoke about this in the email, or I wrote about this in the email tonight. And I'm going to tie this in somehow. To me, it's really obvious, but hopefully it will make sense in a minute. There was a study done recently that I read about this. It was in the US, and it was a pottery class. So they divided up a pottery class into two groups, Group A and Group B. Group A of the pottery class were they were given an exam, and they were being assessed on the quantity of items that they could make, that they could create. So if you're in Group A and you make 10 jugs and somebody else makes 9, you win. It doesn't matter if the jug had no handle, it doesn't matter, and nothing about the quality was being measured, only the quantity. So Group A of pottery class was being measured on how many they could produce. Group B was being measured on the quality, not the quantity. So Group B, the whole point was who could make the finest piece of pottery. Okay, so the measure on that one was all about, you don't have to make 2, you don't have to make 3, but you've got to get 1 over the line, okay, and you've got to make, you know, a beautiful piece of pottery. So they were being measured on who made the best one, okay. So Group A was quantity, how many can you do, who did the most, 1, and Group B was being measured on quality, whoever made the best one was the winner. So they did both groups, and they ran the competition, finished the exam, and assessed each group on the criteria. Group A who made the most, and Group B who made the best. So then they did a little twist at the end of it, and what they did was they took all the work, so all the work of Group A and all the work of Group B, and they decided to have an overall competition at the very end to see who out of all the groups, who out of both groups, who out of all the students made the best piece of pottery. And so the question for you watching is, who do you think made the best piece of pottery? The people who are being measured on the quality, how good the work was, or the people who are being measured on the quantity of how many they produced? So the answer is Group A. So Group A actually made the best quality pieces of pottery. They created the best artwork. They produced the best products above Group B. And some people in Group B actually didn't get it finished. Okay, they were very talented, but they didn't get it finished because they were focusing on just perfection. So the learning from that, I mean, I was surprised, and at the same time unsurprised when I read the answer. But the reason Group A made the best pottery was because they were just focused on doing it. They would do it, okay, it didn't work, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And by doing it and doing it and doing it, they became really good. And so what often stops people from even trying something in the first place is they're trying to be a perfectionist. They never get their business up, they never get their website done, they never get anything done because they're trying to be a perfectionist. And usually in the fabric of that perfectionist bias, or that perfection-seeking behavior, is some fear. There's some fear that, if I create this and it's not perfect, what does it say about me? What does it say about my product? What does it say? All kinds of things. And some others use it as a reason to just not put something out anyway. Whereas the masters, they just do something. And the really interesting thing is, if you do something because you love it, you're going to do it. You're going to just keep doing it because you love it. And then and this is all tied into paradox and congruency as well. I mean, this is just powerful. These 3 principles are like rocket fuel for leadership. They really are. So when you do what you love and you will produce mastery, because you'll put in the effort it takes to produce mastery because you love the nuts and bolts of what you're doing. And so to do anything else is fear-based, and to do what you love is actually love-based. And love, the opposite of love is fear. So that's a little piece on the L word. I've called it the L word because it's when we were younger growing up, it was a kind of word that you didn't say, or you would say, oh, this is the L word. And I thought I'd put it in there because for two reasons. One is a kind of a joke, but the other one is because L is for leadership, and I was curious how many people would think, oh, it's some sort of leadership principle, when actually it's about love. So love and congruency and paradox are all intertwined themselves, actually. And when you're feeling love for what you do and for other people, and you understand paradox, and paradox is probably the pivotal piece in this. When you understand paradox and are able to use it as a tool, and when you are congruent as a human being, when you have those three principles all aligned, then those three principles themselves, if it was a Venn diagram and you had, you know, each of the three overlapping, what you're going to have then is someone who's aware, and they're awake on a certain level. They're awake to what's possible and what's available, and they're awake as to what other people are feeling. So they're aware and they're awake, and they have ability. So they have ability to do pretty much anything. So that's a little bit on the L word, as it links also to paradox and congruency and the principles of leadership. I'm actually writing a book on this. I've given it some talks on it. I've been on panels talking about this, and people seem to enjoy it. So I love it personally. I really enjoy it, and it's something that is, frankly, it rings true. It resonates. And I'm really, really obsessed, actually, with finding what's at the root of mastery, and helping people connecting with the root, with those roots. Because when you're connecting with those roots, you're connecting with timeless principles. And once you align with timeless principles, all the behaviors and all the actions of true leadership, they just emerge. You don't have to, you know, do workshops to try and find, you know, how to be resilient, how to be this, how to be that. The workshops should be around how to align with the principles. It's the internal work on the person itself. So that's actually what we're doing in the course, the Self-Leading Masters course. 4 modules over 4 months, starting in Feb. Plus, you're going to get access to 12 months of my inaugural Inner Circle membership group for leadership, leaders, business owners, and so yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking at. But we're going to be bringing it from the theory into the practical. We're going to do the discovery, what you need to discover the most, what you need to actually focus on and produce, and what's a great 12 months for you, the channels to make it happen, then the action plan with a hierarchy to make that happen, and then we're going to get you traction, and then in the membership we're just gonna get uplift here and hopefully take it off the charts for everybody who signs up. Go to callronan.com, www.callronan.com, to book in a call if you want to on that. Even if you don't, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you enjoy it, please share it with others who you think will benefit from learning about these principles or about leadership. And I look forward to shooting more videos in the coming week.